Hey everybody, how are you? I know I'm just going live and I didn't plan on going live at first. I was just gonna record a video, but I was like, let me just do a live, why not? So anyway, for Wellness Wednesdays, I'm going to talk about sugar. I have had a lot of people under different posts talk about sugar cravings, things like that. So I'm just gonna talk about sugar. Hi, peace, thanks for joining in. And obviously this is a live, so it'll be available for 24 hours and then I'll post it on IGTV, so then you can listen to it. So I'm just gonna get started because I have lots of other stuff to accomplish today. So let's talk about sugar and why it's bad for you, what you can do to replace it, and I guess I'll go back to why it's bad for you. That's the main reason why I want to talk about it, what it does to your body, different things like that. So I'll just get right into it. So a statistic that kind of made me think is Americans consume 100 pounds of sugar per year. So that's just one person. 100 pounds of sugar, that's insane. So obviously you're not just eating white sugar, so it's like you're consuming cookies and cakes and highly processed foods. You're putting lots of sugar in your coffee and your tea, things like that, and you're probably even eating health foods, like things that are marketed as health foods, and not realizing that there's tons of processed sugars in these items. So what is sugar? Sugar is a simple carb that we all need. We need sugar in our bodies because it's naturally in grains, it's naturally in fruit. That's what gives all these different things their sweetness. It's naturally in some vegetables, such as like a sweet potato and things like that. So it does have its benefits, but only when it's unprocessed, only when it's not made in a factory and processed a million times and put through chemicals and things like that. So we do need sugar, but just not the white table sugar. So the problem with this highly refined processed sugar is it lacks nutrients. So there's absolutely no nutrients in there. So when you're putting it in your body, it gives you some energy for a little bit, but it's not giving you any nutrients, so none whatsoever. It creates deficiencies in your body, so it's pulling things out of your body that you need, and it's not giving anything back. So it's kind of like a one-way street, a one-way relationship. It raises your blood sugar. That's an obvious. So it gives you that energy. It gives you that false sense of, yeah, I have all this energy. I can go do a million errands and whatnot. But then you have that crash and your blood sugar just drops. And that is super unhealthy. That causes fatigue, it causes depression, it causes exhaustion. So it's doing the opposite of what you want it to do. Like you want it to give you energy, and it tastes great, or whatever you're eating with it, you love. But it's not doing anything for your body. Hi everyone that's on here right now. Thank you for joining in. I didn't write in what I'm talking about. I'm talking about sugar. So I'm talking about why it's addictive and things like that. So that's the next thing. Sugar, especially processed sugar, is highly addictive. And that causes mood swings, cravings, withdrawals, and all of these things start to sound like a drug, right? Because it is essentially a drug. All of these symptoms, so the mood swings, the depression, the crashing from this high, it causes all types of ailments. And one main one is type 2 diabetes. So most people are familiar with or hearing about diabetes and how it's so detrimental to your health. So this is what eating refined sugar causes, and it's one thing that it causes. So what now? You're probably asking, okay, you're telling me not to eat this sugar, you're telling me not to eat things with processed sugar, so what am I supposed to do? Well, there's plenty of other options out there. It's just a matter of seeking them out and being disciplined enough to get rid of anything with refined sugar. So it's all about the commitment and discipline to your health. Another thing I wanted to touch upon before I move on to the what now and what you can do is artificial sweeteners. So there was a big boom of artificial sweeteners, I think in like 70s, 80s, whatever. They're still around. So things like NutraSweet and aspartame and Splenda, those are kind of like the mainstream names. Those are a no-no. So those, I'd rather tell people to eat white sugar than to eat these fake sugars because these cause lots of crazy things, anxiety, nausea, dizziness, increased appetite. So these things are horrible for you. So when you don't want white sugar, don't reach for the artificial sweeteners because those are even worse. So get those out of your diet, get those out of your home if you have those in your cabinets. So no artificial sweeteners. Okay, so what now? What can you do if you are trying to get rid of white sugar from your diet or processed foods that contain a lot of sugar? So the biggest thing is reading labels. So if you are buying processed foods, read the labels, look and see how much sugar is in there, look and see what is in there, like what types of sugar, because it can have different names. It could say fructose, it could say high fructose corn syrup. So make sure you are reading your labels on your processed foods to see how much sugar is in there and what you're consuming. Next is finding sweet vegetables and fruits that you can replace your like unhealthy snacks with. So if you're someone who loves cakes and cookies and things like that, instead of eating these all the time, replace some of it with fruit, make a fruit salad, make a smoothie, make something sweet but on a healthier spectrum of things. The next thing is cutting down on candy and soda, cakes, cookies, pies, like I was saying, but especially these sodas and fruit juices that have tons of sugar in them. So make sure you're reading those labels too to see how much sugar they put into these items. Replace those drinks with homemade juice. Make tea at home and sweeten it a little bit by yourself. Drink water, drink kombucha. So there's healthier options out there. It's just a matter of what you're keeping in your home and what you're purchasing when you go out. And the last thing is finding sweetener replacements. So if you are into making like baking or having tea and you want a little sweetener, having whatever things you want to sweeten, there are other options out there for you. So one of them that I talked about the other day in a video or last week was dates. Dates are super healthy. They're full of different nutrients such as calcium and potassium. So I put those into my smoothies, and I also excuse me, I also snack on them. So if you have a craving for something sweet, you can snack on dates, and those are wonderful. Another sweetener that I suggest is coconut sugar. So this comes from the coconut palm, and this is, like it says, well, this one is low on the glycemic chart. So that means it's not going to give you that huge blood sugar burst, or I'm using the wrong word, but it's not going to raise your blood sugar and then make you crash. That's what I'm trying to say. So that one is definitely a healthier replacement, and that contains fiber, so it does slow down, it slows the process of it entering your bloodstream. So that's what makes it healthier than white sugar. Next, maple sugar, or excuse me, maple syrup. I can't speak right now. So maple syrup is a natural sweetener that you can use. You don't have to just use that on pancakes and waffles. You can use that as a sweetener. I've used maple syrup in baking. I put it in my smoothies. I have sweetened different like savory dishes with it. So you can use maple syrup. Don't think that it's just for pancakes. And there's lots of nutrients in maple syrup as well. Antioxidants, so keep some real maple syrup, not no Aunt Jemima maple syrup either. Like real maple syrup. It is pricier, but it's worth it because you are worth it. Your health is worth it. And the last one I'm going to talk about is agave. And this is raw agave. And same thing, I use that in baking, in my tea. I'll use it, I always talk about my smoothies. In my smoothies. And agave is has antioxidants in there as well. That comes from the same plant as tequila, so it's natural. There's no alcohol in there. But it comes from a plant, super natural, not processed. And when I talk about all of these replacements, I'm not telling you to eat, like to consume this whole bag in a day or use the whole thing of maple syrup, because you still want to consume these products in moderation, because there's still a sugar and they could still not be as healthy as, you know, a piece of fruit. So you're not going to want to use a ton of it. It's still the same, like use it in moderation and replace if you have white sugar in your house, throw that away and try one of these out if you've never tried them. And there are other things that I don't have right now in my home, like stevia. Trying to think of what other sweeteners there are. That's one that comes to mind right now, but be careful with that as well, because there's a lot of processed stevia on the market too. Stevia comes from a plant, so if you are purchasing it, it should be green or get it in the liquid form. But stevia, it has a weird taste that I've had a weird love-hate relationship with over the years. Right now, I have a hate relationship with it because I don't like the taste, but it is like an acquired taste. But if you have any questions, definitely comment below. Like I said, I'm gonna repost this on IGTV if you missed out on the full video. So thank you for those who've joined me. And if you have any questions, just comment below. Peace.